Hello and welcome to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio. This is Stefan, your host, British by birth, American by choice. The Founding Fathers crafted some remarkable documents that led to the creation of a great country founded on liberty and self-reliance. I have lived in the Euro-socialist nightmare, and I'm doing what I can to return this country to the vision that the Founding Fathers gave us. We need to strive to rebuild that shining city on the hill, for without us, the world has nowhere to turn for freedom. For the next hour, I will be presenting news, views, and guests that help keep the true spirit of America alive.
And good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever, whenever you're listening to this show. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, British by birth, American by choice, welcoming you to this very special milestone edition, 300 shows. Yes, this is my 300th show. And as this show coincides with the start of the year, and this is a very important, I think, a pivotal year in American politics, going to combine the 300th show with a look forward at everything that I think we can expect for the upcoming year, both good and bad. Well, Paul and Rex have joined us in the chat room, so I want to welcome them both here to number 300. As I said in past weeks, never thought I'd get this far. 300, that's quite a number of years that I've been going now, and but we've still got a lot of education to do, so I'm going to continue to do it. Now, in the past, when I've reached sort of 100, 200, I think 150, I did some special shows when I was on Blog Talk Radio, where I had the multiple dial-in lines. I once had a forum. I also, I think it was for the 200th edition, I did a kind of a radio play, assuming that we were all under the thumb of Obama. It's not quite as bad as I said, but there's still, some of the aspects of what I said then were a little forward looking. I also, I think on the 300th, I did something, not 300, the 250th did something about, what I would do if I were president. Of course, not having been born here, I don't think I would ever become president. Then again, doesn't seem to stop some people, does it? Anyway, but so thanks to the guys for the congratulations there. But anyway, I want to go on. So the show today is coming to you from Cumming, Georgia. Just had to say that. Sorry, I had to slip that in. Yes, I am in the PCL home studios. And of course, one thing I also have to do, I'd like to wish all of my listeners, whether you're listening live, whether you're listening to a recording, a very happy, prosperous, and safe 2016. Especially the latter one, with everything going on in the world today. I think safe is something that we should all be wishing one another. So overall, my expectations for 2016, I fear with the lame duck in the White House, we may have to endure a number of things that we don't enjoy as he flails around trying to do as much damage to America as he can before the end of his term. Now, even Donald Trump has come out now and said that he believes Obama is trying to do damage to the United States as well. But we already knew that, folks. The good news, and let's try and look at it positive, is by the fall we'll have a pretty good idea of whether we're going to be able to get rid of this socialistic nonsense. And one of the things that happened today, King Barry had that announcement about gun control, and of course it's very unwelcome, even without regard to its unconstitutionality. But it too has a bright side. It's sure to turn many independents, I think, against the regressives. King Barry is pandering to the left-wing base, and it will turn off a lot of people who think that it's overreach by the government. And on top of that, now that he's enacted this executive fiat for some extra gun control, the only way that Hillary can energize her base on gun control is to promise even more draconian measures if she's elected. And that will definitely turn off more independents and centrist Democrats. I actually suspect that Obama is secretly working to ensure that the Hild bitch does not get elected. On the one hand, he does know that she would protect his signature legislation. But he also knows that she might sort of co-opt it and write out his role in creating the laws and negotiating these treaties, so that she claims all the benefit of it. We know how regressives are so good at revisionist history. And of course, there is little love lost between the Obamas and the Clintons. I don't think she's ever forgiven him for stealing the presidency away from her in 2008. So I think he's torn between protecting his legacy and letting the Republicans tear down what he built. And I think he may kind of be leaning towards the latter, so that he can strut around afterwards and say, see, I tried, but those nasty old Republicans destroyed what I created. I think his appointment of her Secretary of State was not because he thought she would be good, but was in regard to Slick Willie's support of his presidential campaigns. He might have started out thinking she would be a good follow-up to him, a way of protecting his legacy, but I think having seen her conniving, scheming and lying firsthand, coupled with her ineptness, he doesn't trust her or Bill anymore. And so that's why I think, while he's torn between the two things, I think he's definitely leaning towards scuppering her chances. Now, her chances are getting worse because Linda Tripp finally has broken her silence after 20-odd years. Remember, Linda Tripp was involved in the scandal that saw Bill Clinton impeached and threatened to bring down his presidency. And for many, it continues to define his presidency to this day. But according to the woman who outed Monica Lewinsky as the president's mistress, the real story was never about Monica. It was about subornation of perjury, obstruction of justice, a true abuse of power, and not from Bill, no, from Hillary herself. According to Linda Tripp, it was Hillary who manipulated and stage managed the story, converting herself from a lackluster first lady with unimpressive approval ratings to admirable first victim, the blindsided wife proudly standing by her man. She made him forgivable. She orchestrated the cover-up, and she made damn sure that she moved on. Nothing and no one was going to stand in her way. Well, except a certain Obama. Linda Tripp spoke in an exclusive interview with the Daily Mail Online. Well, there you are, Daily Mail Online. Looks like we're going to go across the Atlantic again to get the real information. Although I must say DMO has a lot of good reporters over here in America. And they interviewed her because she had a ringside seat throughout Clinton's administration. And she's given damning insight into and an assessment of Hillary as the key player in the scandals of the Clinton presidency. She describes Hildebeest as the true ruler of the White House throughout her husband's administration. tells how she watched Hillary blatantly lie to the American people. Well, and she didn't just do it then, she's done it again and again and again. Describes her as utterly ruthless in her pursuit of power. I can believe that. And voices her belief that Hillary must never gain the presidency. The position that has always been Hillary's goal and to which she has always believed herself entitled. Yeah, it's not an election, actually. It's supposed to be a coronation. This has been planned for so many years. I remember one of the quotes in my first week in the Oval Office, which was the week after Clinton's first inauguration. Everyone had this little mantra, 8 years for Bill, 8 years for Hill. So they were already planning it then. And when I asked a senior person, what does that mean? He said, well, 8 years for his administration and 8 years for hers. So this is a runaway train. Nobody's going to stop it. Tripp mentions, I think the most compelling thing about Hillary is that she will stop at nothing to achieve her end, and she views the public as plebeians easily seduced into believing her point of view. Hillary Clinton ruled the White House even as early as 1993, and every scandal that originated in the Clinton administration was the brainchild of Hillary. When I think of Hillary Clinton, I think of a lingering taint of scandal and wrongdoing, and in my opinion, possible criminal activity. And behind it all, the pursuit of Clinton's common goal, power. She has stood by him all these years because she needed him. In 1992, no female, least of all she, could have been elected to the highest office in the land. Their focus has always been power and the accumulation of that power. According to Tripp, when a couple is as focused as they are on a goal, there are many, many things that one overlooks to achieve that goal. Nothing is allowed to stand in the way. That means no circumstance, no person. And of course, the most obvious examples of that are Hillary's treatment of the bimbo eruptions that threatened to derail Clinton's presidential campaign and continued to surface through his presidency, of course ending up with Monica Lewinsky. Tripp talks about the fact that Slick Willie's political success was largely dependent upon her because she took care of all these bimbo eruptions in order to present to the world an electable candidate. In this endeavor, she was ruthless. She destroyed women so that their stories never saw the light of day. And she's trying to play the woman card. Thank you, Trump, for finally calling her on that. And in the case of the stories that did surface, she orchestrated an all-out attack on the women's credibility. So, folks, a very good reason there why we can't let this woman into the White House. And Slick Willie as first gentleman. Do we want a repeat of the 80s? There was a posting of a picture of the two of them on Facebook, and I put the comment, I think, I hope you'll agree with me, but I think this is very true. If you look at their campaign, it's just like two aging hippies, apologies to aging hippies, of course, but two aging hippies from the 80s trying to recreate the 80s. That's all they're doing. We need leaders for the 21st century. But there is more good news. There is a movie coming out next week that will also hurt Hillary. The movie is 13 hours. It is, of course, the story about Benghazi, taken from the book of the same name. Now, 3 of the survivors who appeared on Megyn Kelly on Fox News last night, it is a pretty accurate portrayal of what happened there. I'm sorry, I should actually say 2. Only 2 have seen it. I think the third one just couldn't bring himself to go. But they said it's a pretty accurate portrayal of what happened there. In fact, one of them said he walked out of the movie theater sort of saying, he felt just as if he had been back there. Now, if this movie is a success, it will be sure to raise questions again about Hillary's role. So I'm suggesting, why don't you go see the movie when it comes out next week and help contribute to a large opening number? That way, it's going to bring it to the forefront of public discourse, irrespective of what the mainstream media will try to do and sweep it under the rug. If it gets good numbers, then people are going to be talking again, and that's exactly what we need. So, folks, let's have a look. I see that it is time for my first commercial break. This may be number 300, but we still have to try and pay the rent. So, folks, here we go.
You can lose 10, 20, 30 pounds or more with Maximum Slim's first ever rapid weight loss guarantee. Today, you get Maximum Slim, an advanced fat and carb blocker, absolutely risk-free. The all-natural ingredients in Maximum Slim are a powerful weight loss combination. The Maximum Slim formula turns your body into a fat-burning furnace that supercharges your weight loss. Advanced fat and carb blocker stops the breakdown of sugar so your body doesn't store it as fat. Today, you'll get both of these products absolutely risk-free with no obligation. Only pay shipping. There are no expensive meal plans or exhausting DVDs. Just take Maximum Slim twice a day. It's fast, simple, and now it's guaranteed. Look, you can start losing weight today or not. Go back to your high school days and wear your favorite jeans again. Guaranteed. Call now and get both weight loss formulas free. Call 800-451-0228. 800-451-0228. That's 800-451-0228.
Doc, you gotta give it to me straight.
All right.
'Cause I'm dying here. I mean, take a look at this letter from the IRS.
Oh, my.
This is killing me, Doc. I tell you, it's killing me.
Cheer up, my friend.
Huh?
The tax doctor is here. My diagnosis tells me that you're going to be just fine.
Really?
The tax doctor will not rest until we find you the best possible tax settlement.
Really, Doc?
Guaranteed.
If the IRS claims you owe them $10,000 or more in business or personal back taxes, call a tax doctor right now. We could save you up to 75% if you qualify. Guaranteed or you pay nothing. Call right now for free details.
800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. That's 800-917-8546.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us.
And thanks for sticking with me through that break. Just a reminder to those of you that are not listening live, the show normally goes out at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, 8 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday evenings. I was a few minutes late today, but I do try to normally start at 11 o'clock Eastern. So if you can, join us live if you're listening to the recording. And as ever, also, please do recommend your friends to listen. The website to go is radio.patrickcomelately.us. You can listen to recordings there. You can also listen to recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us. And of course, I have to thank the networks that also rebroadcast this show and have been doing for quite some time. First of all, there's Primo Mondone's Red State Talk Radio Network, redstatetalkradio.com. Lots of very good conservative hosts there. I probably have to say conservative and libertarian, but anyway, right-wing talk hosts on there, some very good programs. I'm honored to be in company of some very good people there. And the same also goes for the 405 Media, the Left Coast network that also rebroadcasts my show, and my thanks to them. And also thanks to the terrestrial stations that rebroadcast Red State Talk Radio. I know there are a number of them. I don't know what the latest stations are, but if you're interested in trying to pick it up on a normal radio, go to redstatetalkradio.com. Check out somewhere on the site there, Primo has a list of the radio stations that do broadcast the show, sometimes only in the evening, sometimes longer, and sometimes via their own websites. So, and as ever, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, if you're listening live, click on the little speech button in the Spreaker dialog box there, and that will bring you into the chat room. Paul and Rex are already there, and we often have fun in the chat room. But if you're not listening live, then you can send your comments, your feedback, your questions to me at stefan@patrickcomelately.us. I love to hear from my listeners, and I will try and answer both on the show, but also with an email if you do that. If you don't want to use email, you can also go to my website, www.patrickcomelately.us, fill out the contact form, and that message will also reach me. Like I said, I love hearing from listeners. It's nice to know that I'm not talking into a black hole. And but once again, I will also say, let's get the numbers up. This is an important year, and I hope that the education I'm doing is of value to it. And so please share it with your friends. The more people that hear these stories, the more people that will vote correctly when the time comes in all the elections that will be going on. And let's not forget, the first elections are coming up now in less than a month. That's right. Iowa caucus is on the 1st of February, so it's going to be fun. So let's have a look. Yes, let's start into. I want to play some extra music as this is a special milestone show. But before I do that, let's have a look. With the caucuses coming up, we're not really so worried about the Iowa caucuses on the Democrat side, because it looks like the Hilda Beast has everything sewn up. She may not in New Hampshire, and of course it's very telling that she has to trot out her husband. She can't stand on her own in any way. She has to trot out her husband to try and beat Bernie Sanders. Now, he is from there, so it would be difficult, but she doesn't want to take any chances on losing momentum or anything. So do we really want someone who can't stand on her own and has to trot out her husband? Are we really going to elect her so we have him and his policies back in the White House? I think not. Anyway, but what I wanted to say, first of all, is why the outsiders, and especially Trump, are doing so well. And this was something that happened on Rush Limbaugh's show. A caller was complaining that Trump's policies and pronouncements are simply too far off for him to actually win the nomination. And then Rush came up with a statement which I think really just nails it. Rush explained to the caller that he was asking the wrong question. And he said, you, the caller, but along with people like Karl Rove, the liberal media, Jeb Bush, even a lot of people on Fox News, the Charles Krauthammers, whatever, they're all asking the question, what's wrong with Donald Trump? He's out of control, he's arrogant, he's mean, and his policies don't make sense. What's wrong with Donald Trump? How can he be so successful? And Rush said, but they're all asking the wrong question. And I read this and I thought, yeah, this is so right. This is so obvious. And the question they should be asking, said Rush, is what's wrong with the political establishment that keeps repeating the same pattern of destroying our country? And he nailed it, because he's not only nailing the Democrats to the wall, he's naming the Republican elites to the wall, where they deserve to be nailed and left for the vultures, right? The liberal media vultures to come pick at. And the issue is, basically, that's the question that all of us are asking. It's the question that millions of Americans are asking. And that explains why the outsiders, like Trump, Cruz, Carson, and Fiorina, have been dominating this landscape. Now, Carson and Fiorina have dropped quite a bit, but Cruz and Trump are still up there. Cruz apparently leading marginally in Iowa. Of course, he spent a lot of time there. Trump has been playing the long game and has been spreading himself more outside the country. And if you look, I think the latest poll in New Hampshire actually had him up at 42%, and Cruz in New Hampshire, where he hasn't been spending a lot of time, was down at maybe even below 18 or 16. So, I mean, just unbelievably, I mean, you think about it, that's we're getting close to Trump being 3 times as much as Cruz in New Hampshire. So, I mean, that one unless he really puts his foot in his mouth, that sounds like that's going to be a good one for him. So, yes, millions are asking that question. And in last week's show, I mentioned, right, the claim that we are angry. And yes, we are angry. And rightly so. Angry at the GOP elites that seem to march in lockstep. Dare I even say goose step? Ooh, I'm getting controversial there. With their regressive brethren across the aisle. But the good news is maybe, just maybe, our time has come again to get from under that oppressive ruling class by the election of a complete outsider. And sorry, Cruz and Rubio, I don't think you are outsider enough to escape the taint of the DC elites. So, like I said, keep your fingers crossed. I think we have a good chance this year. And it was very interesting that tonight on Neil Cavuto, who's on just before the 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern, he made a comment, and he said, looking at all these rallies that Donald Trump is holding, and he had one, again, where he had tens of thousands of people in Massachusetts. They were lined up in 29-degree weather for hours to get into this meeting in Lowell, Massachusetts, and I believe they also had to move to an overflow site to accommodate everybody. I mean, the numbers are just staggering. And the liberal media and even some of the talking heads on the right are sort of saying, but these people, you know, they haven't voted before, they're not going to vote. Bullshit. These people are vitalized. They are angry. They're going to vote for Trump. They're going to get out there, believe me. These are not people who are going to stand in the cold in 29-degree weather for a couple of hours to get into one of his rallies, and then when the time comes to vote, say, I can't be bothered. They are vitalized, so watch out. And Neil Cavuto mentioned saying, looking at these numbers, he says, while people are saying that the polls are probably skewed, and they're saying that for some reason Trump is being over-reported in terms of the poll numbers, Cavuto said, but might it be that he's actually being under-reported? And I think that's true. I think that they're going to have a huge shock. I think he's going to win the primary. He's going to win New Hampshire. He'll either win or come a close second in Iowa. He's going to win New Hampshire handily. I think he'll win South Carolina handily, and then he'll go on to the rest of the southern states. And I think there's a bunch altogether after that, and win all those, and he'll just be on a roll. And once he's got that momentum, it's going to be difficult to stop him. And then the LSM, the lying state media or lamestream media, they are really going to have their heads exploding. So that's going to be fun. Anyway, folks, time for a break. And at the same time, I will take the opportunity to play a little bit of music. I think we'll start with the beautiful Krista Branch and her great anthem. And I'll play another one a little bit later in the show.
Patriot come lately. British by birth. American by choice. Just like the Founding Fathers. The voice of the conservative resistance.
Every day, millions of Americans grow more concerned about the future of our great nation. The truth is, over the last century, a small but powerful collectivist movement known as progressivism has debased our politics, our culture, and our currency. We're just a small step from falling into 1,000 years of darkness, as Ronald Reagan warned. Friend, this is Pat Boone with an important free offer on a hot new book called The Great Withdrawal by Craig Smith and Lowell Ponte. This new book explains how we, the people, can end this fatal detour into big government and get back on the path of faith and freedom charted by our founders. Call now for a free copy of the hot new book called The Great Withdrawal.
Call now for your free copy. 800-978-3901. 800-978-3901. 800-978-3901. That's 800-978-3901.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS that you can't pay? Call now for immediate help. At the Tax Relief Line, we help people just like you. If you take on the IRS alone, you could be facing levies, liens, even wage garnishments, personal or business tax issues. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, call now and see if you can pay less. They can freeze your bank accounts, even garnish your wages. Call the Tax Relief Line now for immediate help. Our expert team of tax professionals will negotiate your tax problem and deal with the IRS for you. If the IRS is threatening you with levies, wage garnishments, or seizing your assets, call now and see if you can pay the IRS less.
888-789-5043. 888-789-5043. 888-789-5043. 888-789-5043.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, keeping the spirit of America alive, a proud member of the Red State Talk Radio Network.
And folks, so welcome back from that commercial interruption. What I would like to do now is play one of my favorite Liberty anthems, and this is the one from Krista Branch, a great song.
America.
Yes, that's the beautiful Krista Branch, a great song from way, way back. I would recommend my listeners, if you like the song, go to her website, kristabranch.com, and buy it there, or you can go to iTunes and download it as well. She has a lot of other good songs, but of course this is a great liberty anthem. I just love it. Rex, during the music, Rex was talking about a visitor he has. So I would say, grüß dich, willkommen in Amerika. He has a German lady visiting, and just because of that, I'm actually going to switch to a new topic now. I was going to be talking about why Trump might be right about some things, but this is also perhaps ties in with that as well, and it happens to relate to the lady's home country. So this New Year's Eve in Germany, there has been a lot of bad things going on. In Cologne, they have a Christmas market, and it runs through Christmas, and then the New Year they have festivities there, and people come into the city centre around a Cologne Cathedral, and during the Christmas and New Year period, it's been known as a danger zone with regard to pickpockets and theft. But this New Year's Eve, apparently, there was a huge gang of over 1,000 young men that came there, and these appear to be organized. These young men arrived in large groups, seemingly with the specific intention of carrying out attacks on women. And it wasn't just Cologne. Police in Hamburg are also reporting similar incidents, and they may have happened in other cities as well. In a lot of cases, the authorities are sitting on this because there's a lot of resentment against the immigrants that have come in. And yes, it turns out, for example, in Cologne, that those 1,000 young men that came there are probably 99% of them were all these immigrants from the Middle East. The mayor of Cologne, Henrietta Reker, said that the attacks were monstrous. We cannot allow this to become a lawless area, insisting that visitors could not come to the city fearing attack. And the German Justice Minister tweeted that we won't tolerate these abhorrent assaults on women. All those responsible must be brought to justice. Well, what actually happened? One man described about how his partner and 15-year-old daughter was surrounded by an enormous crowd just outside the station, and he was unable to help. The attackers grabbed her and my partner's breasts and groped them between their legs. A British woman visiting Cologne said fireworks were being thrown at her by the men who spoke neither German or English. No, they speak Arabic. But that's one of the things I had to dig through a lot of reports, but eventually it did come out. A lot of the news reports did not mention where they came from, but finally, if you dig deep enough, you will find out. They were trying to hug us, kiss us. One man stole my friend's bag. Another tried to get us into his private taxi. I've been in scary and even life-threatening situations, and I've never experienced that, said the British woman. Now, of course, the Justice Minister also warned against linking the crimes to the issue of migrants and refugees. Of course, because a lot of people in Germany are really fed up with how all these immigrants have been allowed in. I think Angela Merkel is going to have a hard time at the next election because she's going to get booted because of what she did, and rightly so. And there's a lot of anti-immigrant sentiment. Now, we're supposed to be nice and allow immigrants in because these poor people have such a hard time in Syria. But one of the things we should be doing when we let these people in, we say, yes, you can come here, but if you come here, you behave the way we live, and you don't bring your Neanderthal ideology, political ideology, so-called religious ideology over here. Now, after saying that she thought that these attacks were monstrous, the Cologne mayor then also issued advice to women that they should not walk around by themselves, keep at least an arm's length away from strange men, and more of the usual regressive claptrap. Can you imagine that? I mean, basically, as usual, the victims are being made to feel that they are responsible. Instead of telling the Muslim men if they want to stay in that country, they have to learn to accept our way of life. But that's not acceptable to these thugs. They just want to destroy our culture and take everything that we have for themselves. Just absolutely disgusting. And it isn't just Germany. In Norway, there was a woman there that said the same thing. Norwegian women, because we have all these immigrants, have to learn that they can't dress the way they used to dress because these poor immigrants don't understand that these women are not dressing to seduce them. This is the way they normally dress. No, folks, that's wrong. We don't have to change what we do to accommodate these people. If these people want to come here, they have to change to be part of our way of life. So, and yes, Rex put in the chat room rape story. Yes, I talked about the that the women were being groped, but there were also rape stories in this New Year's Eve thing. And of course, coming up in February, we have what they call Carnival, which is 4 days of drinking and partying. And there's already worries now that these Muslims are going to take this the wrong way. And by the way, a lot of these 1,000 young men apparently were quite drunk when they arrived there. I thought Muslims weren't supposed to drink. Yeah, they can do what they want to when they want to, but yeah. And finally, one quick one before the next commercial. Mary, don't be mean to Edward. He's more of a daddy to the lady than a girlfriend. Anyway, okay, folks. Time for the final commercial, and then we'll have one more piece of music after that.
The offer of a franchise can only be made through delivery of a franchise disclosure document. Imagine yourself being a leader in America's fastest growing demographic category. More than 10,000 people a day turn 65, and a large percentage are going to need a helping hand at home or in choosing the right assisted living community. Always Best Care is looking for people who've excelled at everything they've done, but they're seeking a new challenge. Always Best Care is one of the fastest growing companies in this explosive field. We're looking for 25 new franchisees to keep our booming business growing. We'll back you up with the strongest award-winning marketing program in the industry, and we'll provide the special training and support that's fueled our growth to prepare you for this great opportunity. All that's missing is you. Call Always Best Care toll-free at 1-800-643-7508. That's 1-800-643-7508. For Always Best Care, 1-800-643-7508. Call today.
Are you worried about losing your home to foreclosure? If you've been threatened with foreclosure or receive legal papers from your bank, you have approximately 30 days to respond. If you do not respond, you could lose your home. You have rights. Act now to protect your rights. You can stay in your home. Many times you can even modify your loan. The bottom line is you can get past this, but you must act right now. Call National Foreclosure Defense right now at 800-296-3006, 800-296-3006. If you've been served by your bank and you're worried about losing your home to foreclosure, now is the time to fight back and save your home. Time is limited, so call right now. 800-296-3006, 800-296-3006. Call the professionals at National Foreclosure Defense right now. 800-296-3006.
If you're diabetic, this message could change your life. Is your blood sugar out of control even when you do all the right stuff? Are you afraid of diabetic blindness and the risk of amputation, as well as all those other side effects? Well, you should be. Is there anything that could help manage your blood sugar? Nobetes is a natural supplement that may quickly and dramatically lower your blood sugar.
My name is Bob Corder. I've been using Nobetes for about 3.5 to 4 months now, and in the first 3 months, I've actually lowered my blood sugars from 500s down to 139, and then it dropped to 88 to 93.
My name is Kirsten. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and while taking Nobides, my blood sugar levels dropped from 295 to 115 in just one day.
The FDA hasn't evaluated these statements, and Nobides isn't intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. But for many, it's helped drop their blood sugar. So if you've been evaluated with high blood sugar, don't delay. Evaluate Nobides now. Call 800-551-8302 and get your free bottle. Just cover shipping and handling. Call 800-551-8302. That's 800-551-8302.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us.
And folks, we're into the final segment of the show. I just want to slip in my other favorite Liberty anthem very quickly. This is also another lovely singer, and lovely to look at, the beautiful Ava Aston.
We
And yes, that is the lovely Ava Aston. So, as I said, if you like that song, you can go to her website, avaaston.com, or iTunes, download the song, and she has lots of good music. Buy it. Support your local artist. So we've got just a couple of minutes left in the show. Earlier on I was talking about why outsiders, specifically Trump, are doing so well, and there's one thing, what was going on in Germany I think is going to fuel this thing where Trump said, we've got to carefully vet all of the refugees that we bring into America, and that kind of news is really going to add support to that. But it isn't just Germany, it isn't just Norway, but also now in France. In France, the French, and they've said they are really going to have war on radical Islam. They're not namby-pamby like that woman in the White House. Oh, I'm sorry, the man in the White House. So, Trump was vilified and attacked as a racist and a bigot for suggesting a ban on this peaceful religion. Peaceful religion. It's a political ideology. I said that in an earlier show. Anyway, back in Paris, authorities have been raiding Islamic mosques to find out what was hidden. And in one, they found a large collection of Kalashnikov ammo, along with boxes of ISIS-Daesh propaganda videos. They also found recordings of religious chants glorifying the martyrs of jihad linked to the terrorist organization Jabhat al-Nusra, the Syrian branch of Al-Qaeda. The recordings were found amongst a wealth of teaching materials for young people in an undeclared madrasa or religious school. And the police removed a hard disk and 10 computers with all sorts of incriminating evidence. So the French don't mind stepping in and searching mosques. And it's about time we got into that. It's about time we got onto that thing and started saying, just because they're mosques, if they're preaching hatred, then we have a right to go in and check them out. Anyway, folks, the clock has been ticking again. So I'm going to, I have to get ready to say goodbye. I hope you all have a great 2016. Please join me again next week. There's going to be plenty going on. We're getting close to the caucuses. Let's watch what's going on there. And we'll see what the polls say. And yes, it's time to say TTFN und Tschüss to our visitor with Rex. And I will see you next week. Remember, please tell your friends.
Thank you for listening to the show. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's topics. Whether you listened live, to a recording, or to a rebroadcast, I appreciate the time you share with me. We need to spread the message of liberty far and wide, so please tell your friends and family about the show. Thank you for helping to keep the beacon of hope burning. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, signing off. God bless America, and remember, L3, long live liberty.